What's up, you guys? This house hasn't ever had a set of steps, so I'm gonna build a set of steps right now. I've already figured out my height. I got 102.875, which is 7/8, so 102 and 7/8, which I would like to go all the way up. So I at least need 3 foot for a landing to land on top if I want to go all the way up, or I can come up and then turn, which that might be kind of too big also. So I'm gonna figure it out, but if I have enough room to give me 36 inches and then hit all the way to here, land here, it actually looks like enough room. So I'm gonna start figuring all that out, and then I'll speed things up and you'll see the whole process of putting in a whole new set of steps that a house never had to set. Alright, so I like to show the math just to try to help people out so they can figure out sets of steps or whatever. So my length that I have, I'm gonna try to do this quickly. My length that I have from that wall to here pretty much is 145 inches. Usually I want a 36 inch landing that I can land on, have 36 inches up top when you come in and hit the top. But I'm gonna make it 30, so it's not really gonna be, it'll be okay. I'm gonna make it 30 inches. So my height is 102.875, which is 102 and 7/8. So I'm going to divide that by 14, and that gives me 7 and 15 sixteenths, which is a light 8. So the height of the steps are going to be a light 8, and then I'm going to make my length of the step 9 inches, which 9 times 13 steps, because you're going to minus 1 step because your last step will be your step up onto your landing. So 13 steps times 9 is 117, minus the 30 is like 115. It's like, yeah, 115. So 2 inches would be, it'll be 2 inches a little bit past this point, 2 inches plus the 1 inch overhang lip of the first step, 1 inch overhang. This should be okay. You get about 32 inches in between that wall and that wall. So literally, well, now I have to figure out, I didn't buy stringers for one set. I bought stringers for 2 sets. I was gonna do a set, do a landing, and turn, do another set. So now I'm gonna figure out. So I got my riser, a light 8, and my tread 9 plus overhang. So I'm gonna do the tread top overhang that. So I'm gonna draw this out, and I'm gonna figure out what I need. See if I can do it with this 10 footer, but if I might need a 12 footer or a 14 footer. So alright, I'm back. I had to go get some 16 footers. I probably only needed 14 footers, but all they had was 16 footers, so I'm just gonna start redrawing these out on these new pieces of wood, and then start building them. So All right, so I'm on my second my second stringer, and I'm not gonna trace each stringer. I'm gonna just draw out each stringer because I can do it way faster now. So there's no reason to trace it. When you trace it, it's never the exact same. So drawing it out is way better. But I'm just gonna continue on, keep building these. I probably won't build them today because I had to go and get different lumber. So. Alright, so I cut my last stringer. I'm not gonna build them today because I just ran out of time. So also too, when you're cutting like stuff on an angle like a 45, it makes it a lot easier to shim your blade. but I always put the blade, or I always put a shim like right here, and it holds that guard from coming up. But with an electric saw, that blade will just keep spinning. It's not gonna stop. So if you're cutting, when you set this down, this is gonna go running, and it's gonna go flying. So if you ever shim your guard, your brain always has to be on that guard is shimmed. That guard is shimmed. Don't set it down. Otherwise, you're gonna set it down and you can get hurt. Or just don't shim it. It just makes it harder to cut because your guard's catching, and when it's on an angle, it's just way harder. That guard is not meant to be cut with an angle, so just a lot harder and a lot easier. So this will be part 1. So